the fact the cosmos works the way it does and life exists is impossible. Literally nothing short of a miracle. Every single part of this is a miracle. We don't know where thoughts come from. We don't know where we come from. We don't know where we're headed. We don't know a single atom to its entirety. We know literally nothing. Every part of this is a miracle. That's the trick. When you forget that it's a miracle, then it's no longer a miracle. Imagine this. When you experience a miracle, or let's just say you're in your happiest moment you've ever been. Maybe you won something amazing, or someone you love accomplished something awesome and you're living through them vicariously, or you see a baby being born, or just anything miraculous and amazing. How do you react? Well, when you experience a miracle, that state of mind that you're in, that's the real you. That's the peak state. That's the highest version of yourself, the happiest version, the most joyful version of yourself that you could possibly be. Okay, when you are your utmost joyful self, or most abundant, highest version of self, your happiest peak, most joyous state ever, do you ever dare wrong a worm, hurt a fly, a bug? You are so preoccupied with being ecstatic and happy, nothing can break you. You have no mindset on fighting. There's no philosophy even needed. You don't need to have developed a psychology. You're completely joyous. Somebody could try to knock you down off your high horse. Nothing can faze you. That's because in this state of joyous, not only does your intellect, scientifically proven, go up to about 10-fold, 10 times. When you are in a calm, joyous peak state, your intellect is almost 10 times that of its base level, right? Anger is almost, I think they said about seven times more likely to cause mistakes. I mean, just think about it. Every single time that you're angry, and you think of the times that you've messed up the most in your life, or radically done something that you regret, it's because you're angry. When you're angry, you don't think clearly, but we justify anger. Because what happens is sometimes when we're angry, we either get our way, or maybe we work ourselves up into a hot sweat because we're like, I'll show these motherfuckers, right? And we grind and we get results. And psychologically, we start to associate that when I'm angry, I get shit done, or I get results, or I get it my way, or I feel a sense of significance. You know, if someone's holding a gun to somebody's head, how significant are they at that point? Extremely significant to the other opposing person, right? And I went over the human needs, and violence, pretty much covers all of the human needs. Short of, I guess, love and growth. But even that, connection. How connected are you to that person who has a gun to your head? Pretty connected. So pretty much covers all the human needs, and that's why violence stays around. But this isn't about the 6 human needs. This is talking about life being a miracle. So, considering life as a miracle, how do you feel when you experience miracles? Amazing. Utmost peak state. Beautiful. Untouchable. Life can't faze you. And simply, what you want to do is maintain that state, or organize your thoughts and functions to be able to continue having this momentous, amazing, joyous state, right? So your only goal when you experience a miracle is celebrate with others how you discovered the miracle, and try to maintain that peak state, of impossibility, miraculousness. That state when you feel something was impossible, or you didn't think you could do it, or maybe you did. Maybe you've been working or training for an event or a award show or a ceremony, or you graduated college, or simple things. Kids being born. There's so many things that give you this sense of life is perfect, right? And if you're in that state of mind, your only job and only thing you want to do is to continue to create joyous experience, okay? So if life's a miracle, and every time you experience a miracle, you're in your peak state of mind. That peak state of mind, in order to continue it, you have to create more peak experiences, right? So in order to create more peak experience, what would you have to do? Well, in order to sustain this peak state of mind, I would have to back it up with a big amount of responsibility, correct? Because responsibility is not how many bills you have to pay or, what you have to do from day to day. Responsibility is simply your ability to respond. So, in order to amplify your ability to respond, what would you need to do? Well, you need to work on mind, body, and spirit, right? Because if I'm working out every single day, if I'm reading every single day, and then I'm creating, meditating, visualizing, and learning how to use my genetic pharmacy to cultivate bliss states, whether it's meditation, getting closer to God, creating something, some way, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Okay? So, if you elevate each one of these daily, it makes your ability to respond greater. So, if I'm physically strong, my body has a great ability to respond. I go upstairs, I'm not winded. My body needs to react, it reacts because I've been training it. Same thing with the mind. If I'm reading daily, somebody might propose a problem. I've read this. I can help. Okay? Elevating your spirit is unique to you. This is what separates you from everyone. Creation is what separates us from animals. Animals pretty much are in their own experience, and we get to create our experience. So amplify this, because this is what separates us. That's what we call soul or spirit, right? Like animals, we see them to have somewhat, we think maybe they have a soul. But us, we're like, we have a soul. Why? Well, clearly the things that separate us from animal. Just creation, humor, understanding beauty in its depth, and also human suffering, but also human bliss, which are all controlled by human thought, not human circumstance, but your thought is what creates this. Okay. So, life's a miracle. How do you feel when you experience miracles? You're in your peak state. How do you maintain your peak state? Elevating your ability to respond, your responsibility in mind, body, and spirit daily. Now, how would you do that? Well, in order to do that, it must be backed with a lot of self-discipline. So if you're in your peak state, you want to create, right? And if you want to create, you need to have a better ability to respond, mind, body, and spirit. And in order to cultivate a better mind, body, and spirit, a better responsibility, then you need to back that with the ridiculous amount of self-discipline. Why? Because creating that state or that miracle life or maintaining that miracle life is extremely important to you. As a matter of fact, it's the most important thing in the world for you is to be in a perfectly wonderful, joyous state internally. Externally, there could be all kinds of tragedies and events going on, but internally, you're at peace because you have the ability with thought alone to do so. So if you have the ability to do so without alone, and you know that when you think fearful, stressful, angry thoughts, you're literally poisoning your system. Cortisol's pumping through your system. So someone angers me, they're my master. My enemy is actually my master if I label them my enemy, right? Because I gave them the ability to control my internal pharmacy. Okay? So let's start from the beginning. Life is a miracle. Every single second of life is a miracle. The moment you forget it, you're doomed to see the miracle. So, life's a miracle. How do you feel when you experience miracles? You're in your peak state. In order to maintain that peak state, you have to elevate your ability to respond. In order to elevate your ability to respond, mind, body, spirit, you must have a systematic plan of self-discipline that's going to maximize your mind, body, and spirit. So, this is why it's like the chicken and the egg problem, right? Like the joy precedes the growth, or the growth precedes the joy. They're both. If you say, I'll be happy when I achieve said goal, you're not allowing yourself to be happy until you achieve that goal. But once you do, you're letting off a little spike of endorphins, right? The other way is getting into this peak state because you realize life is a miracle. See, there's two ways of looking at it. One is by self-analysis, which means you're peeling every single layer. You peel a layer of the subconscious mind, you're analyzing it. But the problem with analysis is unless my analysis is 100% accurate and perfect in its entirety, that when I go to the next layer, I'm coming to the next layer with an imperfect analysis of the first layer. And it keeps going a deeper still. That's why the joy needs to be first. It needs to proceed. Because if you can get yourself into a joyful state simply by believing that every second of this is a miracle, which is not a belief, it's a fact. It's definitely a miracle. Then you're able to get into a joyous state. When you're in a joyous state, creation is inevitable. That's what you want to do. I'm in a peak state. I want to create. I want to create a meaningful life for me. And in order to do that, I need a better ability to respond, responsibility in mind, body, spirit. These are the only things that we have control over elevating ourselves. We can't control outside spirit experience. We can always control ours. So in order to do that, it needs to be backed with the ridiculous amount of self-discipline. Because you're not going to be able to properly maximize, logically, your mind, body, and spirit if it's not backed with an amazing amount of discipline. So people feel like when I get in this bliss state, or if I'm not worried or I'm not stressed, I won't really get much done. But it's au contraire. It's quite the opposite. Because if you're in a joyous state, then your intellect is 10 times that of its base level. You don't want to harm anyone. You just want to create a meaningful life. And in order to properly keep and sustain that state of meaningful life, you must have maximal control over your mind, body, and spirit to keep this process in ease, right? And so basically, if you want your life to be a massive success in every way, then the only thing you really have to do is realize that every breath, every second, every single millisecond of this existence is amazing, miraculous, and perfect. And when you get there, by nature, everything falls into place. That's why you want to self-discipline. So the joy could and should always precede the growth. Because you don't want to do nothing but grow after you're in a joyous state, right? In the next video, I think we'll discuss on the triggers that keep us from seeing that this world is a miracle in its entirety. But it's LBS. Good morning, everybody. I love y'all. And if no one believes in you, LBS believes in you. Let's get it. It's LBS the Oracle. God bless.